everyone was freaking out and going crazy when Joe Rogan got $100 million deal from Spotify. What? If I get into podcasting, I can get $100 million? That's crazy. That's what a fluke. How lucky. And now his most recent deal was $250 million with Spotify. So yeah. If that doesn't...
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Podcasting with Influence, powered by Influencer TV. Got a great guest for you today, Andrew Weiss, founder of Weiss Wisdom and the Chief Marketing and Operations Officer at Podfest. Before we dive in, I want to just encourage you guys to stick around to the end. Andrew's going to share with you some great resources and a great tool on how to leverage AI when creating content. So I think you guys are going to figure out a really cool way that's going to save you time and really help you with that content creation piece. So let's just dive in. We'll get to that later. So Andrew, I want to start with, because you got a lot of things going on, but I want to start with your role at Podfest. Podfest is an amazing event, great community of podcasters. And so you have a role there as the Chief Marketing and Operations Officer. Tell me a little bit more in terms of what that role entails with Podfest.
Yeah, so I help oversee the operations of setting up the ticketing systems, helping with speaker support. I'm the sponsor liaison, help making sure all the emails are sent out to the attendees for what they can expect leading up to the event, why they should come to the event in the first place, and get their tickets, and just kind of help make sure that Podfest machine runs smoothly with me and the rest of the team.
Awesome, man. Well, you mentioned, okay, so speaker management. Walk me through that. Are you the one actually picking speakers or just giving input, or how does all that work?
Yeah, so I'm on the speaker selection team. So yeah, it's a whole team of people that reviews the speakers. I help put together the application in the first place. But I help spread the word of help making sure people are able to apply, refer their friends, and then I'm on the speaker selection team, but it's not just me.
Yeah, nice. So what kind of speakers do you typically look for?
We love looking for speakers who have unique niche topics about things. So for example, rather than putting in how to make more money with podcasting, having a topic like 3 ways I was able to make money with podcasting with Instagram in 40 days or less kind of thing. And so just like the more specific a topic, the better. And we like to use Bruce Wozniak. I think he just celebrated 10 years straight of running his podcast or something crazy like that. And he talks about 20 plus ways to promote your podcast other than social media. And so hearing topics like that, you're like, oh, what? You can promote your podcast outside social media? That's so cool. And so the more specific of topic title, the better.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That's awesome. Yeah. To find different ways that, that exclusivity and, to be able to gain some info that's not super widely accessible. That makes sense. Well, okay. So, for somebody that has not been to Podfest or is unfamiliar, what can they expect from, attending Podfest and what makes it unique?
So what's super cool about Podfest is we can brag about being the world's largest continuous in-person podcasting event, and at least in North America. And so, I mean, it might be the world, but we definitely could brag about North America. And as far as the world goes, we also hold the Guinness World Record for world's largest virtual podcasting event in 1 week. And we broke that not once, but twice. So that's kind of like the 30,000 foot view of everything of just being one of the biggest podcasting conferences to go to in the world. But it's actually started off as a community of about 15 podcasters. And our CEO and founder is going, why do I keep going to these events where speakers are talking, but they're not actually given too much value? They basically just talk about themselves the whole time, or they kind of just pitch their products and services the whole time, and that's it. And how can I create an event atmosphere where attendees are giving, they want to support each other, see each other succeed, rather than always saying, what can you do for me? So by starting with 15 people and growing to tens of thousands of podcasters from around the world, we've kept this community of culture of essentially, we want to make sure your voice is heard. We want to help you grow and monetize your show. And we want to have the attitude that will go above and beyond to help you succeed and see you thrive. And bring the best education, the best speakers, and have a customer service that's off the charts is our goal, and really making sure you have an incredible time even when you're in a sea of podcasters.
What I'm kind of gathering here is, there's a big emphasis on community, right? Um, so, with podcasting, obviously it's growing, right? But there's still a lot of people who have not gotten involved, but don't know where to start and want to, right? They just have no idea. It can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of different things you have to do to keep it running. And I think it's something like 80% of the people that start quit after their third episode, which is insane, but it's true. And I mean, there's a lot of work to it, right? So when you talk about community, I think the value add here is going to be a place where people, whether they've just started or are thinking about it, can come and mingle with other people who are doing podcasting, right? Who are in the weeds, who have tips, tricks, advice, and people you can bounce different ideas off of, and really, get those questions answered from people that aren't just speculating, but are actually doing the thing, right? Yeah, so I love that, and I think that's probably one of the key features and benefits and value to Podfest, right?
So yeah, speaking to the power of joining a podcasting or Podfest community, I talked about this when I gave a presentation at Podfest this last January. I was talking about how podcasting is a growing industry, and there's no easy way to say that other than the proof is in the pudding. And one of the best ways to show the proof of that, everyone was freaking out and going crazy when Joe Rogan got $100 million deal from Spotify. What if I get into podcasting? I can get $100 million. That's crazy. What a fluke! How lucky! And now his most recent deal was $250 million with Spotify. So
Yeah.
if that doesn't show the opportunity of the growing industry of podcasting, I don't know what else can. What else to tell you? And out of all the avenues of communication of social media out there, podcasting, it's a great way to communicate your voice. And what I love to tell the example of is that if you tell a friend or family member who doesn't know too much about the potential and value of the podcasting space, and you tell them, hey, I want to start a podcast, they'll go, okay, that's cool, I guess. So what? But if you come to Podfest and you meet all these other podcasters and content creators and people who want to grow and monetize their show, and you're like, hey, I want to start a podcast, they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. How soon is your first episode? How can I subscribe? What kind of guests are you looking for? Who are you using for your editing your show? Like, how can I help you? And you're like, okay, this is cool to start a podcast. But until you're around the right type of community of people who want to see you succeed, it's hard to really, like you said, stay consistent and be some of the top podcasters.
Yeah, man, you're so right, and we're seeing kind of a shift, of everybody does it for different reasons, right? So you have people that are doing it out of passion projects, topics, things they enjoy. You have people that are doing it to build their personal brand, right, to grow their business. There's all these different things, and it's starting to become kind of a staple in terms of you have people, everybody has a website, right? Every business has a website. Now it's starting to be one of those things where, okay, do you have the podcast? And really, at the end of the day, it's just how are people consuming information, right? And how are they getting that content? And that's just such a big medium, and this is just such a huge way in which people consume it. And so it makes sense. You want to have your message in all the places that your audience is, right? So yeah, I love it. I mean, and you have to have that support, like you mentioned, that makes such a big difference. Which again, why I'm so happy that you could be on here today to chat and talk through some of this stuff with me. I wanted to touch on something, and hopefully you can tell the audience a little bit about the pod tour and kind of what that entails and what cities. I heard it's kind of a traveling tour for it's somehow related to Podfest. Is that right?
Yeah, the pod tour has definitely been one of our most innovative, exciting ventures that we've taken on. It started off because coming back from the pandemic, it was hard for people to get comfortable traveling outside their state or outside their country. And we're announced that we've gone international with the pod tour because we had a meetup in Toronto, which has been successful the past couple of years. And so, yeah, that's what's great about the pod tour is that even though we host our annual in-person event in Orlando each year, and our next event is January 30th to February 2nd, 2025. What's cool is that there's still podcasters around the country who want to connect with other podcasters. And our community is about 15,000 people. And so when we are traveling around the country talking about podcasting and the importance of building your brand, growing and monetizing your show. Oh, and by the way, if you want to come meet a bigger group of podcasters, join us for our annual in-person event. But we went to over 25 cities in 2023 and going into 2024 for this event. And we're looking to hit up 30 plus cities in 2024 as part of the pod tour. And what's really cool is, yeah, we went from LA to New York to Tennessee to Texas to Georgia to Chicago. And so that's what's awesome about the pod tour is that we're able to connect with podcasters around the country and then bring them together again in Orlando.
Incredible, man. Incredible. So, a lot of different ways to participate and get involved and join this community of podcasters and enthusiasts. So that's exciting. Well, I kind of want to shift gears a little bit here. And, obviously you have your own podcast, right? And if we talk about, the power of podcasting in terms of, building a personal brand and providing education and value and thought leadership content. Talk to us about your show, the Rapid Results Podcast, and how that ties into what you do and your business.
Yeah, so I got involved with Podfest back in 2020, and we broke our first Guinness World Record in August of 2020 with about 5,000 podcasters. And then after doing Podfest for 2 years, I'm realizing, geez, I help host all these podcasting events for meeting all these podcasters. I don't have my own podcast. What the heck? And so our CEO and founder wrote a book called Start Ugly. And in that, he talks about how it's better just to get started, learn along the way, than try and perfect everything and hold yourself back from doing everything perfectly, essentially. So I did an online summit in 2020 called Fight the Fluff. And so I took the recordings from that and uploaded them as a podcast. And then I'm like, okay, now that I have the hang of uploading things, I'm just going to get started. And so I started my show, the Rapid Results Show. I love anything entrepreneurial, personal development, professional development. And so being able to interview some of the top experts around the world on professional skills, from Amber Vilhauer to Bob Berg, who's the author of The Go-Giver. It's been a really awesome opportunity for me to connect with other entrepreneurs and business owners around the world. And so it also helps with my branding. I'm also an accountability and sales coach. And so when people see me on the show as someone who's able to have similar insights as these top entrepreneurs and business owners, it helps get clients excited, get the information they need, want to work with me more. And also, it's just, part of being my passion for coaching is I want to be able to serve others and help others. And what better way than to give these top experts around the world a platform to share their knowledge with more people?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a point in there that you made that I want to touch on, the analysis paralysis, if you will. A lot of people get stuck, they're overthinking, that they want to make it perfect. And in my experience, when you give into that, you typically don't even get the show off the ground. Right. In most cases, people will sit there and I mean, I've talked to people that, oh yeah, I've been, planning a podcast for 5 years. And I'm like, well, why hadn't you started? What's holding you back? Oh, well, I'm still trying to figure out the title or the whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you could be like, you might have already been the next Joe Rogan 5 years later. Like, what do you, so right? Like, you just got to get started. But it's tough. It's hard. It is. It's very overwhelming. And obviously it takes a lot of time. So, it's no easy task, but well worth it. So you mentioned, okay, the consulting and really helping with that sales accountability. So talk to me and really my audience, for anyone out there that could potentially be interested in what you do. Who are the specific type of clients that you look to help, and and what are some of the things that you've done to bring success for your clients?
Yeah, the entrepreneurs and clients I look to help are companies that are currently or entrepreneurs that are currently making $10,000 or more per month, and they want to scale up to $30,000 or more per month. And so I help them by looking at their system, seeing what they're doing wrong, what's holding them back, why aren't they asking for more money when they should be. And so each entrepreneur comes with a unique set of problems and things that they need help with. So that's why I work is with one-on-one and really narrowing down how to help people get to where they want to go as quickly as possible. And so I do sales training, I do accountability, because what I've learned is that if you don't track yourself and if you don't have the right incentives in place, then why would you want to grow in the first place? So we would talk about how to help you do that. And just really making sure people are getting their goals set faster, because life's too short not to.
So, Andrew, what advice would you give to any aspiring entrepreneurs out there, and kind of based on your experience with starting your own business? What's one piece of advice you would give?
I would say that you are who you spend time with, and you don't need to do it alone. As entrepreneurs, we're natural problem solvers, we're innovators, we want to get out there and figure things out. It's what we want to do. But if you feel like you have to do it all alone, then you're going to be missing out on David Meltzer, he's a top entrepreneur. He coined this term called the dummy tax, where essentially so many other entrepreneurs, business owners have made mistakes before. Why would you make the same mistakes as them when you could learn from others how to avoid those mistakes? So really make sure you're spending time with mentors, with coaches, with other people who are at a similar or a higher level as you, who can help encourage you how to work through things and be better at exploring opportunities. That's definitely the top piece of advice, is like really looking for those communities of people who can help you succeed and thrive, and make sure you don't pay any more dummy taxes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's a great piece of advice. All right, so to wrap things up, I teased it at the very beginning, right? You've got some resources for our audience here, some free resources on how to leverage AI to create content. Can you share how they can access that, a little bit more about it, and really also how they can get in touch with you if they'd like to talk more about how to get involved with Podfest, or even maybe they need some sales accountability coaching?
Yeah, definitely. So I figured out how to help automate your content creation. And for those who don't already know, content creation is essential in the online website internet space, because if you're out of sight, out of mind, then you're out of business. And so it's important to constantly be creating content and not be putting too many hours and days and weeks into stuff when you might as well. Another quote I love about AI is that AI is not going to take over. The people who know how to use AI are going to take over. So you might as well learn how to leverage it. So I did a presentation at Podfest recently. I talked about AI and accountability, how you can save not just hours, but days each month creating content. I use tools like Cast Magic, Be.live, Video.ai. And I go through the slides and the training, how I use those tools. And so if you go to subscribepage.com/driven, you'll be able to get my complimentary slides on my presentation, walking you through all the AI tools and how to leverage those. And then as far as how to find me on social media, at the Andrew J. Weiss. And you can also connect with me at my website, weisswisdom.com, and I'd love to connect with you.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, man, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for all the great information for all my entrepreneurs out there that are watching. Make sure you connect with Andrew. At the very least, go on LinkedIn, add him, and follow along. Definitely be sure to tune in and hear about the Podfest and the Pod Tour if it's coming to a city near you, and I encourage that. But the sales accountability piece, man, that's such a huge piece. So yeah, if you're a business owner and you're at that 10K a month, you should really at least just connect and talk with Andrew and see if there's some value there and some good synergy. Well, that's all we got. So guys, we appreciate you tuning in every episode. And look, if you'd like to be a guest or you know somebody that would be a good fit for our show, please let us know, and stay tuned for another great episode coming at you real soon. And that's been it. I'm Brian. This is Podcasting with Influence, powered by Influencer TV. Have a great day.